With the NFL offseason in full swing, today I am going to be discussing one of the teams that has been relatively active through the free agency frenzy, and how they have went from being one of the laughingstocks of the league to a really competitive and fun to watch team, that being the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to go over some points on how Grier and Brian Flores have saved the Miami Dolphins and turned the ship around. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now first, we need to find out how Grier and Flores ended up in Miami. Both of them were originally from the Patriots and brought over to Miami. Grier started in the 90s as a scout for the Patriots and came over in 2000 as a scout to the Dolphins. He then took over in 2016 as GM and has been in that role ever since. Brian Flores had a ton of success in New England, leading one of the greatest defenses in recent NFL history to the most dominant defensive performance in Super Bowl history, probably, when they defeated the Los Angeles Rams 13-3 in Super Bowl 53. Flores is a great coach and a guy that you'd expect players to really want to play for. Grier, the general manager, has done a ton for the team, but has not been able to get a really good coach. The coaching carousel involved Adam Gase, and you have to understand, when Grier was hired, he brought in Adam Gase alongside him, and letting go of Adam Gase had to have been a tough decision for Grier to make, as he was the first coach that he had hired in the NFL, but it was definitely the right call, as Gase was ultimately a liability for the Dolphins. Brian Flores has brought the Patriot way to Miami with a twist, and has been able to bring a lot of players from New England. Kyle Van Noy was there last year, Landon Roberts is there, Eric Rowe is there and doing really, really well on defense in that starting position. Also, Adam Butler has just recently joined the team. Many players on that defense from that magical run that the Pats made are flocking over and joining Flores. As I said, Flores seems like a pretty easy coach to play for, and he has brought a outstanding style to the Dolphins, as they were a team nobody really wanted to go to. But Flores has went in there, revamped the system, and has been able to bring in young guys, some veterans, and make it all work for the Dolphins. The recent addition of Will Fuller is going to provide young quarterback Tua Tagovailoa a lot more option, as he will not only have Devontae Parker, but Will Fuller as the second wide receiver. And in the draft, they're expected to select a wide receiver, whether that is Devonta Smith or Jamar Chase. Either one would be a perfect fit in Miami. Between Gesicki, Parker, Fuller, and potentially Smith or Chase, the Dolphins have built one of the best receiving corps in football. Plus, Myles Gaskin as the running back is not a bad option. When Grier started in Miami, the core consisted of Jordan Cameron at tight end, Devontae Parker at wide receiver, Jarvis Landry and Kenny Stills as number 2 and number 3, then Jay Ajayi as the starting running back, and they had Ryan Tannehill throwing them the ball. That's not a bad group by any means. However, they have been able to upgrade it all with a young star quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa, who is going to be great for the league for many years to come and help the Dolphins out a ton. Tua has a solid offensive line in front of him now. I would only say solid though, as it is still the main priority. You have to protect your young quarterback, especially if he's going to be your franchise guy. The addition of Jacoby Brucette as a backup is huge for the Dolphins. As a Canadian, I know what Brucette is brought in to be. I expect him to run a short yardage scheme similar to what happened in Indianapolis, where third and short or 4th and short, you expect Jacoby Brucette to come in, and he'll rarely throw the ball. Up in the CFL, they have 3 quarterbacks on their team: a backup, a starter, and the short yardage guy. Jacoby will likely be the short yardage guy and not get very many reps throwing the ball. You saw the starter and the reliever role last year with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua. I think that will be similar again with Jacoby Brucette as he comes over, another former Patriot. It is going to be a good fit for Flores. I don't think he sees as much action as Fitzpatrick did last season, but it will still be a good duo for the Dolphins. Flores' defensive style is an easy-to-teach, hard-to-read style, which means all of his schemes are really hard for the quarterbacks to dissect. We've seen last year how the Miami defense shut down Patrick Mahomes as he was on his way to another MVP-like season. The Miami defense was absolutely insane last year and surprised a lot of people. Having the support of a good defense to go with a young quarterback and a learning offense is definitely a luxury for the Dolphins. And I think that Flores has prioritized the defense as much as he can since getting there. But now, as he starts to focus on the offense more, he is building a way more complete football team. And they are looking like a lock for second place in the AFC East next year. The Finns' defense is criminally underrated, and Flores is to credit for most of it. Bringing in players from New England that have made an impact on the team, and having a solid secondary makes it hard to push the ball down the field like they have against the Dolphins for years. The Dolphins have always been picked on the secondary, never really having a star cornerback or safety. Now having Xavier Howard is huge for the Dolphins, and it's going to be really interesting to see what they can put together this season. Grier made a big mistake when he hired Adam Gase. That ended up probably pushing Ryan Tannehill out, but it all ended up working out as when he ripped the Band-Aid off and got rid of Adam Gase and brought Brian Flores in, Flores took a year to adjust, and after a not-so-good year, got Tua Tagovailoa in the draft and managed to build that offense up, build the defense up, and make them a competitive team last year. And they were a really big surprise last season, and some were even saying Flores could have been in consideration for Coach of the Year, which I believe he could have, and I think he can easily win it this year. One more huge key is the trust in Greer from the organization and the ownership, allowing him to rebuild the team and trusting the process. After he made that mistake with Gase, they didn't automatically shove him out the door like we've seen for many general managers. They gave him a chance to fix the team, get a better coach in there, and make them competitive. And he definitely has done that. I am personally really high on Tua Tagovailoa and the entire Dolphins team. I think that they can do something really special next year and put together a playoff run. And it's definitely something that the fans of the Dolphins are deserving of. I really liked the way Flores decided to develop Tua last year, not starting him until about halfway through the season, and then, as I said, going with the starter and reliever role as you see in baseball. I think that was really good, and I expect many teams to use it this year with young quarterbacks, as it has never really been seen before. Week in and week out, nobody knew who the starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins was going to be, whether it would be Tua Tagovailoa or Ryan Fitzpatrick. That forcing the defenses to prepare for both, and that was a really smart move from Flores that he probably won't be able to use this year, as I don't think as many people are going to prioritize putting together a game plan for Jacoby Brucette as much as they will Tua, unless something happens to Tagovailoa. They are in a really tough division next year as we see the resurgence of the New England Patriots making a ton of moves in free agency. I think the Pats end up finishing third. Jets obviously fourth. I think it'll be a longer rebuild for New York. And then I think Buffalo locks up the top spot, and we see the Miami Dolphins make a return to the playoffs. And like I said, it's definitely one that the fans deserve. They have been putting up with all of this through the 20 years of domination from the Patriots in the AFC East. All the pain of the Dolphins, and they finally have their franchise quarterback and a good head coach. A good, understanding players head coach that everyone wants to play for. You will see more of a pattern that you saw in New England with the Patriot way of people wanting to go there and playing there for less money. That is what you're going to see in Miami, as Flores is going to be a fun coach to play for, and they are going to be a fun team to play for as well. Grier and Flores have completely transformed the organization and turned them into a competitive team. With these moves, they have done a ton. The Laramie Tunsil trade will go down as one of the best in Dolphins history, as they turned that into a first-round draft pick, which they ended up trading to the San Francisco 49ers for 2 other first-round picks and the 12th overall pick. They then flipped the 12th overall pick to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for the 6th overall pick, which that is huge understanding from the Dolphins, being able to dissect the fact that almost every single team in that top 5 is going to want a quarterback with San Francisco in there, meaning at least one of Chase or Smith are going to fall to them at number 6, and they are going to end up with a lot more draft capital in the future and still getting their guy. They want a very good receiver for Tua to develop with, and 1 year between the two starting their NFL career is going to be great. Whether it's Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase, either one of them are going to be great in Miami, and the Dolphins are going to be an extremely competitive team next year and must-see television. If you enjoyed, make sure that you hit that like button and subscribe. I'm on track for weekly uploads every Sunday, so make sure that you hit that like button and subscribe, join the herd, check out my hockey channel, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.